You already know what we're going to be talking about after you clicked on the video about being reborn through Christ. So I'm not going to have a sugar-coated intro to this. But yeah, So I'm going to be real with y'all right now. Being reborn through Christ, it's not it's like a 1 + 1 type question where the answer is kind of simple, but also it's not a question that you can answer with common sense. I want to answer about how or what it's like to be reborn through Christ. Being reborn through Christ, it's not like a one and done, okay? Just boom, I'm reborn through Christ. I'm a new person. Like I'm there now. Like I have Christ already. Like no, that's not it. Okay? Because again, you can get baptized, which is a good start. You can pick up your Bible. You can go to church. You can say a prayer. But overall, that's not really being reborn through Christ. Today at church, I was given the opportunity to reaffirm my baptism because for the past last years, I've been living a life of sin, that I wasn't really conscious of. And now when I realized it, I realized that I needed Jesus more than ever, And one of the only ways to get there is that I had to completely restart. Resituate my identity and re-coordinate where I was going with life. When talking about being reborn through Christ, it's a process that you have to endure. It's not going to take a second. It's not going to take a day. It might, but it's going to take some time. You're basically redrawing your identity, to be more like how God wanted you to be. Part of being reborn through Christ is taking in God's plans and not yours. Okay. See, so when my friend asked me, hey, how were you reborn through Christ? Like, what was it like? I told him, I didn't even know I was reborn through Christ. Like, to be honest with you, my focus was so on God and so on trying to pass God's vibe check, that being reborn through Christ, I didn't even know that was going on, to be honest. I don't know if I've talked about it before or anything, but when you're reborn through Christ, your eyes get opened to a whole new reality of this world. You start to see things differently. You can sense where evil is and isn't, And more importantly, when you're reborn through Christ, God is literally testing you, okay? You're probably going to get put through more tests and trials than ever when you're in the process of going, being reborn through Christ. Well, I wouldn't even call them tests or trials, I would call them like practices. You know, because when I was being reborn through Christ, I don't know if this is going on for any of you, or if you don't even know about it, but I was put through some serious struggles. There was this one time, not too long ago, like maybe 8-7 months ago. Like, I still remember it, even though I want to forget about it, but there was this girl, okay? I'm not gonna say her real name, but let's just call her Addie. Her name is not Addie, but we'll just call her Addie. But basically, I had gotten this new job. I was working as a lifeguard. And it was like in the first week when I was getting to know all my coworkers, because this was a new place that was built, and I was happened to be blessed enough to get this job to work there. And there was this girl, okay? Addie was one of my coworkers. She was the very first coworker I actually met. And when I started to talk to Addie, Addie was pretty. She was beautiful and gorgeous. But the thing was that, I didn't really like her. I had no intentions of wanting to go on a date with her or anything, because I just saw her as my everyday coworker. But Addie, I think she kind of liked me because, I wouldn't really be talking to her, but she would still find a way to spark some conversation with me, and talk, everything. And eventually, as time went on, I started to see real beauty in Addie. I really did. And about maybe 2 weeks after we started talking, I asked Addie, hey, do you want to go on a date? Because I was in love with this girl. She was beautiful, okay? And when I say that, hey, she was like, she looked good, I mean it. She was literally the prettiest girl I knew, and she probably still is today. So yeah, you probably know where I'm going with this. So, skip to the end. Basically, when I asked Addie on a date, she first said yes, which basically sparked a giant, fire in me saying, ooh, yes, I got a girlfriend, let's go. But little did I know that she actually had a boyfriend already at the time, and she still said yes. So then the day after she said yes to the date that I asked her out on, she said, no, sorry, I can't go, because I have a boyfriend now. Okay, anyway, basically, after all that, I was a bit heartbroken and sad, and it took me about 5 months to get out of that phase. But for that phase, that was, I feel like, personally, that was just one of God's, practices or tests or trials as part of being reborn through Christ. So what I want you to learn from this is that when you're being reborn through Christ, God is going to be putting you in situations that are going to bring you down, but build you back up to be stronger than ever, So when these blessings come through Christ that God has promised to you, He knows that you'll be ready for them. These blessings are going to be better than anything you could ever imagine. Because I'll tell you, I've gotten some of them already, There were some girls, that have already came up to me and talked to me, started flirting with me and stuff, Well, I somehow found out, I don't know how, but I eventually found out about each of these girls. They all had boyfriends, okay? So I can see why God put me through that original trial with Addie. Because He saw things I didn't. See, when you're reborn through Christ, That's part of the process, you know? You don't know what's coming for your future. So that's why God's going to build you up to be the man or woman that He wants you to be when you're following Christ.